So you've decided to try out Midjourney. Now what? From character and style references to small things like changing aspect ratio, there are a lot of dials and knobs and it can be a bit overwhelming as a beginner. And in this video, I'll break down the basics of Midjourney into easily digestible pieces so that you feel confident getting started. I think the best way to use this video is to treat it like a mini Midjourney course introduction and follow along on your desktop with Midjourney open in another browser window. Before we start creating images, let's quickly talk about subscription plans and how to know how many images you can create each month. If you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for a Midjourney account at midjourney.com. Choose your login method. Once you're signed in, click Join Now or Subscribe to view the subscription tiers. Midjourney has 4 subscription tiers which you can pay for monthly or annually. For beginners, I recommend starting with the basic plan and upgrading to the standard plan as you get more comfortable and start creating more. With each of these plans, it's important to understand how many images you can create each month. Midjourney uses something called GPU time to measure how much you can create. The basic plan gives you about 200 minutes, which roughly translates to 200 image creation jobs. The standard plan gives you 15 hours, and you also have what's called relaxed mode, which is essentially unlimited image creation jobs, but they complete more slowly. The basic plan does not have relaxed mode, so when you run out of your 200 minutes of GPU time, you'll need to wait for your monthly renewal or upgrade your plan. If you're planning to use Midjourney for business purposes, you might want to consider the Pro or Mega plans. These give you access to stealth mode, which keeps your creations private from other Midjourney users. You can change your plan at any time by clicking your username in the lower left and then Manage Subscription. On this page, you'll also see how much fast GPU time you have left until your monthly allocation renews. Next, let's take a quick tour of the website. For this video, I'll be showing you how to create images on the desktop version of Midjourney's website. You can use their website on mobile, but you may not have access to all features. First is the Explore page. The Explore page showcases recent creations from the Midjourney community. It's a great place to get inspired and see what's possible. You can view random, hot, or show top-rated images by day, week, or month. If you see an image you like, you can add it to your liked images. There's a search bar in the upper right that searches images made with Midjourney. This is a fuzzy search, so it's not an exact search. Next, we have the Create page. This is your main workspace for creating images, and we'll spend a good chunk of the video here. You'll submit your prompts in the Imagine bar up at the top of the page. There's a default settings menu that we'll cover more later, and you can search your previous prompts over here. The Organize page is your personal gallery. All of your images will be saved here, and you can filter, search, and download your images from this page. You can also submit prompts directly from the Organize page as well as the Explore page, but if you're trying to get into a creative flow, I recommend just going to the Create page for prompting. Over on Chat, you can enter a room to prompt and collaborate with other Midjourney users. The Newbies and Prompt Craft rooms are especially helpful when you're just starting out. The Tasks page contains different activities that you can complete to help improve Midjourney and help it understand your preferred visual aesthetics. More later on why that's important. Lastly, don't forget to check out the Help section where you'll find a lot of helpful resources and where you can report any issues. Alright, so that's a quick tour, and we'll cover some of these features in more detail as we go along. Now, let's write our first prompt. When you're just starting out, keep it simple. Don't put too much pressure on making a great first prompt. The first objective is just to try stuff out. I like to recommend first choosing a subject. This could be anything, right? An animal, person, a spaceship, nature landscape. Up in the Imagine bar, let's type 2 bears having a tea party and press enter. You'll see a placeholder for the results. Each time you submit a prompt, Midjourney is running what is called an image generation job. Let's look at the results from that job. We've got a set or grid of 4 images of 2 bears having a tea party. The images are all square because Midjourney's default aspect ratio is 1:1. I'll cover how to change that in a little bit. So these results are nice, but they aren't quite what I had in mind. I actually want a photographic image of 2 bears having a tea party. But because I didn't specify a style, Midjourney chose a style for me. As you submit more prompts, you'll learn that Midjourney has its own assumptions and biases, and you may need to get more specific with your prompt to work around them. So let's try to get a photographic image instead. Over on the right, we can see our prompt and the Midjourney model or algorithm that was used to create those images. When I hover over this white space, we have some action buttons. I could click Rerun to generate a new set of images that use that same prompt, but I want to slightly modify the prompt. So I'm going to click this button here, which will put this prompt back into the Imagine bar where I can edit it before submitting a new job. I'll just add photo of at the beginning of the prompt and submit that. Note that you can submit multiple simultaneous jobs and start a queue. The number of jobs that you can submit depends on your subscription plan. In this video though, we'll just be going one job at a time. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. But I still feel like the images are a little too dark. So let's try this again. I'll put that prompt text back into the Imagine bar, and I'm going to add taken with Kodak Portra 400 film. This is a real film type, and there are other film types that you can try. I like this one because it tends to produce nice photographic images that are a bit brighter, and you can see that effect in the results. And I actually think they look more photographic than when I only use the word photo in the prompt. I'll cover some more basic prompt structure tips later on, so make sure you stick around for that. But for your first prompt, just start with something simple. Now let's explore how we can customize, alter, and enhance one of these images. Let's work with this image. When you hover over an image, you'll see two buttons, very subtle and very strong. Clicking either of these buttons will automatically submit a new job where Midjourney creates new variations using this image as a base. So let's do that. Choose subtle if you only want slight variations of the image, or click strong for more diversity. It's a little difficult to tell in this example, but in the very subtle results, the position of each bear is more similar to the original compared to the very strong results. The backdrops here also show a little less variation. So if the image that you like is close to what you want, but maybe just needs a little shakeup, try creating variations. Now let's open the original image so that you can better see the options available. In the upper right is the prompt and the model that was used. You can click the heart to add the image to your likes, search Midjourney for images similar to this one, download the image, and clicking the three lines reveals another menu with some different copying options. Or you can right-click on the image for quick access to some of these. In the lower right is a set of actions that we can perform on this image. We've already used very subtle and very strong. This number tells us how many times we did that. You can hover over any of these labels to get a quick bite of information, or click to open up the help documentation, which is a fantastic resource. If your set of creation actions looks a little different than mine, click more options and add what you want to see. I'll just make sure all of them are selected, and let's review the other options. Upscaling increases the image resolution. This image is 1024 by 1024 pixels. Using the upscale buttons will enlarge it by 2x to 2048 by 2048 pixels. Choose Upscale Subtle if you want the enlarged image to remain as true as possible to the details in the original image, or Upscale Creative if you want the upscaler to have more freedom in changing small details. You'll have to test both to see what your preference is, and that preference might change depending on the types of images you're creating. Remix is the same as Vary, but with Remix you get an opportunity to change the prompt text before submitting the job to Midjourney. Let's try it. I'll click Strong. The image and its prompt get added to the Imagine bar, and I'm going to add in the background as a sandy beach. So Midjourney is going to utilize the original image and the altered prompt to create new variations of that image. You could just run the text as a completely new prompt without reference to the image, but with Remix, you're kind of telling Midjourney that there are aspects of the original image that you want represented in a new image. In our results, we have similar bears and a similar tea party setup, but now they're on a beach. Okay, back to our menu. Pan lets you extend the canvas in a specific direction. Click the arrow for the direction that you want and a new image creation job will be submitted. Use Zoom to zoom out on an image to get more of the surrounding scene. Here we can rerun the job and get new images using the same prompt. And this button takes you to Midjourney's image editor. The editor is a powerful tool for making specific changes to an image. You can modify parts of the image using this repaint eraser tool, zoom out, pan, change the aspect ratio, and edit the prompt text. You can do one or all of these at the same time. For example, I'll drag this slider to zoom out. I'll paint over the head of the bear and edit the prompt text to say that the bear on the left is wearing a hat. Midjourney will only change the empty space, so everything here will remain the same. Click Submit, then Close, so we're back at the Create page. And here's the results. The editor is one of the best ways to make adjustments to an image. I have a dedicated video on this tool, which I'll link below. Let's go back to our original image by clicking the red edit text over here and look at the bottom of our Actions menu. The Image and Style buttons let you use this image as a reference in new prompts. For example, using it as a style reference means that Midjourney will apply the visual aesthetics of that image to your new prompt. These are more advanced techniques that we won't cover here, but I'll provide links to more detailed tutorials. And of course, we can click Prompt and that will add the prompt to the Imagine bar where you can iterate on it and create new images. Now that we've explored basic prompting and a few ways to alter and customize images, let's briefly talk about Midjourney's default settings. First, click this settings icon. These are your default settings and they will apply to all of your Midjourney prompts. You can override the default settings by including what are called parameters in your prompts. We'll do a tiny introduction to that in a minute, but I want to point out a few key settings for beginners. First, we have image size, which controls aspect ratio. As you saw in our results, the default 1:1 setting creates square images. Drag the slider left or right to set a tall or wide aspect ratio as your default. If you frequently use a specific aspect ratio, maybe consider changing this. Otherwise, I would just leave it at 1:1 for now. You can hover over many of these settings to learn more and click to open the help documentation. Down here, you can choose which Midjourney model you want to use. We've been using the V6 model, but you can also try the original V1 model or some of Midjourney's anime-trained models. Over here, we have the speed mode. So this is linked to the type of subscription plan that you have. Remember, not all plans have access to every speed mode. Fast mode and turbo mode use your monthly fast hours, whereas relax mode does not. So these are my default settings, but these aren't necessarily the settings that I want to use for every single prompt. The simplest example for us to talk about is aspect ratio. I don't only make square images, I use a variety of aspect ratios, but it would be kind of a hassle to go into this menu every time I wanted to use a different aspect ratio. So instead, what I can do is add a parameter to my prompt. Let's try a new prompt, Vintage Space Rocket. Here we have a subject and a style. To make this a tall image, add the aspect ratio parameter to the end of the prompt. First, put a space, then type --AR, another space, and 9:16. Parameters start with 2 dashes, and this is the value that goes with that parameter, which in this case is the aspect ratio 9:16. Aspect ratio is the relationship between the width and the height of the image. So for tall aspect ratios, the first number is always smaller than the second number. This parameter will override the default 1:1 aspect ratio just for this prompt. So let's submit it and see the results. Now we have a grid of tall images and the aspect ratio is shown over on the right. Midjourney offers many other parameters that you can use to customize your prompts. You can use multiple parameters together. Parameters always go at the end of the prompt and the order does not matter. While using parameters is somewhat advanced, knowing how to change aspect ratio is valuable even for beginners. You can find the full parameter list in Midjourney's help documentation. If there's a specific parameter that you'd like me to make a video on, let me know down in the comments. Next, let's take a look at how to manage your images on the Organize page. This is your personal Midjourney gallery. You can open any of these images and have access to the Actions menu. On the right, you can create folders if you want to group images according to a project. Just create a new folder, then click and drag or shift-click to select images and then drag them into the folder. There's a search bar up here that you can use to filter your images that contain a specific word or phrase in the prompt, or even a specific parameter. There are other ways to filter your images over here. For example, view only your liked images, or only ones that you have upscaled. And there are a couple of options down here to change how your gallery looks. To download images, you can select all images by date by clicking this plus sign, click and drag to select, or shift-click. Down at the bottom, click Download to get a zip file of your images. And there are a few more actions that you can take with your selected images by clicking More. All right, earlier I promised to share some more Midjourney prompting tips, so let's go through a few more basics. Midjourney is trained on a vast data set of images and text, allowing it to understand a wide range of concepts. However, some concepts may be harder for Midjourney to grasp if they're not well represented in the training data. Centaurs is a classic one that requires some clever prompt crafting and patience to get a successful image. So a few key tips for effective prompting. The most recent Midjourney models respond best to clear, descriptive, grammatically correct prompts. Don't use phrases like "show me a picture of" or "create an image of," and avoid rendering or quality terms like 4K or HD. Those aren't going to make your images higher quality. Focus on the content and style of the image that you want. Let's take this prompt for example. Photo describes the medium that I want. Here I'm telling Midjourney how many cats, their position, so facing the camera, sitting on a ledge, and I go further to specify that the one on the left is white and the one on the right is black. So very specific about what I want. And here are the results, which are exactly what I asked for. Notice that I didn't specify what type of ledge or what is in the background. Midjourney decided these details for me. If there is a detail that is important to you, include it in the prompt. I could make this prompt even more specific and instead ask for kittens sitting on a wooden ledge and a blue hot air balloon in the background, and we get these results instead. Something else to keep in mind is the visual baggage that comes with certain words. For example, hero often produces a male character with a red cape or some other superhero outfit. Wizard typically gets you an old man with a white beard and a pointy hat. Prompt for a rose, and it's probably going to be red. Words like hero, wizard, and rose are strong archetypes because they have very strong visual elements or themes associated with them. You can use them to your advantage or be more specific to avoid them. To summarize, if you want something specific, be specific in your prompt. Consider aspects like colors, lighting, mood, fashion, composition, avoid unnecessary phrases or rendering terms, and consider the archetype for a word, what visual baggage is associated with it. Most importantly, experimentation is key to getting the results that you want, and if you'd like a more in-depth prompt structure and prompting tips guide, let me know down in the comments. Before we wrap up, there's one more feature that I want to highlight that can help you consistently get images that align with your personal visual aesthetics. By default, Midjourney uses its own bias to fill in the gaps, so to speak, each time you submit a prompt. However, setting up model personalization allows you to create your own customized Midjourney model tuned to your personal visual preferences. Here are a few comparisons between Midjourney's default style and one of my personalized models. My personalized version of a hero is quite different from the default Midjourney style. I recommend setting up your model personalization once you're comfortable with basic prompting, because this is going to do a better job at tailoring your results based on your preferences. Setting up model personalization is a topic in itself, and I have a whole video that I'll link. Midjourney can be both exciting and overwhelming. My advice is to start with a simple prompt and build on it. Don't try to do everything at once. If you're looking for help and inspiration, be sure to check out other videos on my channel. I also have a Patreon community where I release monthly prompt collections and have several PDF guides available. There are a lot of places on the Midjourney website to get help and inspiration. Participate in one of the prompting rooms and create alongside others. The theme room is great because you get a new topic each day. I also highly recommend listening into Midjourney's weekly office hours. These happen over on the Midjourney Discord server. Up until recently, Midjourney was only available to use on Discord. If you don't have a Discord account, watch the video linked below to get that set up and learn how you can use Midjourney on Discord. If you do have a Discord account, you can connect it to Midjourney and manage profile. Then go to the Midjourney Discord and look at events. If you'd like me to make a part 2 to this video where I introduce a few parameters and ways to better customize your prompts, or perhaps a video dedicated to basic prompt structure, let me know down in the comments. I'll be honest, this video was a bit intimidating for me to put together, so if you found it helpful or learned something new, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a like, subscribe, all the things. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.